What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon NFL DFS video. What I wanted to do is give a first look at DraftKings. So what we'll do is we will look into the Vegas odds. We'll see the games that are there, and then we'll kind of break down a little bit of the plays that we like. Obviously, we have more on the website with the cheat sheet, the matchup tool, the lineups and stuff like that. But I wanted to give you guys a first look into what we have here at FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So if you go to the website or you click the link down below, the Vegas odds will be here. And this is a really good indication of what to look for when you're trying to build your lineup. So you can see the open and current. So today is Tuesday. These will be updated probably Saturday morning as well, so you'll be able to see the open and the current line when you're building your lineups for Sunday. So you can kind of just look at this, and I mean, depending on where you want to go, you can go the over/under, the implied totals, stuff like that. So just looking at the over/under here, the current over/under, Vikings and Lions is a huge game there. Dolphins and Bills. I mean, the Bills look like the team to beat this year so far. So you can kind of go here, and then you can kind of find that, hey, I really don't want a ton of Browns and Steelers players. Maybe I'll take Nick Chubb for the Browns. It just really depends on the pricing and stuff like that. So we can look at that. We can look at some players. We can look at pricing from last year and where they're at last week and where they're at this week. Kind of build off of that as well. So it's kind of what I wanted to do here. Just go through the list real quick. I guess you can't really see the over-unders. It is on the website. Okay, perfect. So on the website here, looking at that, we have just some players stick out, like Cowboys, Giants. If we can find some value, we can find was it Noah Brown, I believe, for the Cowboys. Giants, Saquon really let us down last week. Saints at the Panthers, I really don't know who I would take in this game. Possibly the Panthers defense, just because Jameis, we know he likes to. The Saints had 5 turnovers last week. I'm not saying the Panthers defense is as good as Tampa Bay, but we know that Jameis can throw 3 picks any given week. Saw that last week. So you can just kind of look through there. We can see the games we like. So the games I really want. So when it's a full slate, other than so if you're playing like the main Sunday slate, so take out the Thursday night game and then the Monday night game. I'm not sure if there's 2 Monday nights this week or that was just this past week. You can really focus on a handful of games to target if you want to do a game stack. So like Vikings and Lions. So we know that Kirk Cousins primetime, not good. Kirk Cousins not on primetime, pretty good. Justin Jefferson got shut down pretty much in week 2. Probably has a bounce back game. Lions offense has been, the sun god. We've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know how we don't have him in our lineup every week moving forward. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So you can target these games. So you could, let's say you make a stack with like Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and I'm maybe Thielen. I don't know about Dalvin right now. He hasn't done anything for us. First 2 weeks have been rough for a lot of big names. Jonathan Taylor, JT just got shut down. Shut down. I'm worried about him. I'm worried about CMC. Barkley kind of got shut down after a monster week 1, so just whether or not the game plans are like that. So you can kind of see what games to target. You can see what teams to target. So if you just want to do that, largest to smallest, you could focus on the Vikings. The Bills are the Bills. The Chiefs are always going to be there. The Rams and Cardinals, Kyler and the Cardinals really struggled until late in that game. So I was very nervous as Kyler's my starting quarterback there. So yeah, I'm really glad I did start Kyler. I was debating Kyler versus Kirk Cousins just because I have a Justin Jefferson stack there, but I went with Kyler. So we can kind of just notice the implied totals here. These are really good, and then you get down to red, and you want to avoid most of that. There's not a ton to like on the Steelers right now. So yeah, so looking on DraftKings here, when you build your lineups. So research has shown that when you're building your lineups, looking at all the data from 2021, the thought process prior was you take your quarterback and maybe one or two pass catchers, and you don't necessarily need to do that. So, like, just for instance, you could build a lineup with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs right there, big game, and then you can kind of come back with possibly, if you want to do a game stack like that, like if you didn't have Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and Tua in your lineups, you probably were not cashing in this Millie Maker contest with 200,000 entries. So that being said, you've got to find that stack this week. A lot of people, not a ton of people were on Tua last week. The handful of people that were did really well, especially if you stack that game. If you stack Tua, Waddle, they kind of spread the ball around on the Ravens side. The defense was starting off strong with picks. I mean, they had some turnovers, but then they gave up a ton of points. So, yeah, that being said, let's kind of just dig in a little bit, look at each position, ones we like, and stuff like that. So, I mean, Josh Allen, I don't know how. You've got to have him in some lineups. So if you make multiple lineups each week, you've got to have him there at 8,200. I mean, he's super expensive. You're going to have to stack him with at least one person. Stephon Diggs, probably that person coming off a monster game on Monday night. And Miami defense, we saw what Lamar Jackson was able to do against that defense. Lamar Jackson had that game won. They kind of, let up a little bit, and that was enough. Baltimore's defense is not that good. They got exposed. Josh Allen's better than Lamar Jackson. I can say that with confidence with my chest out. So I'm looking at that. I love Josh Allen. I don't know why you wouldn't. Lamar Jackson, I like him. Doesn't have as good of a matchup there, but as you can see, he has more fantasy points per game. He can throw it and run it as well, especially if his running back, if J.K. Dobbins is out again, pretty good option there. Mahomes against Indy, we saw what Trevor Lawrence was able to do against Indy in week 2. This is Pat Mahomes. The problem with this is you take Patrick Mahomes and you wanna stack him with somebody. I mean, Kelsey's the obvious choice. He's the most expensive choice. But the problem is they spread the ball around so much in this field. No matter what game it is, you can never really feel confident in the Chiefs. At least, I mean, you can feel confident in the team overall winning the game. It's really hard to find confidence in the wide receiver, or you got to get lucky on which one you take. So kind of looking at that. I'll have some exposure to Mahomes, but not a ton. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he almost destroyed my entire I have 3 fantasy teams season long. I won all 3 this week, but it was close. It was close. Jalen Hurts came on strong in one of my leagues. So, I mean, I won by, I think, 1.5 points, and Jalen Hurts was crazy. So, looking at that. Justin Herbert, I don't know. Let's see if there's any news on him. Day to day, I know he has injured ribs. I fully expect him to play, but he's obviously not going to be 100%. So, we'll kind of look at that. Kyler, I mean, slow, and then came on strong. I mean, he had like 12 points until like the fourth quarter and then really turned it on. So you can see he had a better week than week 1. His price was $7,500. It actually went down this week. And he's got a good matchup against the Rams. Now, on paper, you'd be like, oh, it's the Rams defense. They've gotten, not that well. So right now, Kyler there. Kirk Cousins, like I said, against Detroit in the highest over-under on the slate. Kirk Cousins, I think he has a bounce-back game. He was just forcing the ball to Justin Jefferson last night, and he was getting picked. I mean, Darius Slay should have had 5 picks in that game. He had 2, should have had 5. He dropped 3 easy ones. I think he bounces back. I think people will be off of him because, again, it's a Monday night game. I'm looking at him. Joe Burrow, looking who I'd stack him with, just depends who's healthy. T. Higgins obviously is a good one. Joe Mixon's a good one as well. Flip side of the Arizona Rams game, Stafford. Obviously, the obvious stack would be Stafford and Cooper Kupp. I think if you want to pivot off that, you could look at Allen Robinson. I know people are all over him. But yeah, let's just look. Allen Robinson, had a touchdown, and I believe he dropped 2 passes in the end zone. He dropped 1 in the end zone. So Allen Robinson went 4 for 5 with 53 yards and a touchdown. Should have had 2. Had 15.3 points there. I really like him. They paid Allen Robinson enough money that they cannot do what they did in week 1 and ignore him. And I said that. If you follow our stuff, I said that last week. And I mean, he came on strong for 5,500. He's only 200 more, and he's got a great matchup. You will find me with Matt Stafford and Robinson stacks where people are paying for Cooper Kupp, or even Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, and Robinson, and build from there. I'll have multiple lineups. We do have lineups on the website. Check that out at fantasyteamadvisors.com. But yeah, so before we get into the running backs, if you guys check this video out, if this video gets 30 likes and 30 comments, you know what it is. If you've been here before, you know we have a contest. So 30 likes, 30 comments. We will post down below a FanDuel and DraftKings GPP lineup as long as we have that before about 11 a.m. Sunday, so we can get that. So just so you know, 30 likes, 30 comments, and I think we're like 60 subscribers away from 7,000 here on YouTube, which is awesome. If we get to 7,000, or when we get to 7,000, I'm going to pick one lucky subscriber that win a lifetime subscription to fantasyteamadvisors.com, so definitely check that out. So, looking into this, let's move into running backs here. Now, Jonathan Taylor, super expensive. I feel like he'll have a bounce-back game. I think Indy will be playing from behind, hopefully a little bit better than what they did in week 2, where they were behind, but they didn't do anything. The problem, Jonathan Taylor, 9 rushes for 54 yards and 1 reception on 1 target. Obviously did not pay his price, dropped down 900. He's still the most expensive, but they dropped him 900. So I will have some exposure to him, but I feel like this is one of those weeks where you can pay down a little bit for running backs. Same thing with CMC. I don't know if I trust him. I mean, he still had 102 yards last week. He had 19.8. He's had double digits. But whatever reason, I watched some games here, or I watched some footage of the game, and Baker just does not... It doesn't look like Baker knows what he has in CMC, which is crazy. Still had double digits here. He dropped 100, as you can see, going up against the Saints defense. Not the best matchup, but I'm going to have some exposure to CMC, maybe a little bit more than Taylor. I mean, you are going to say it's only 200, but you will have to sprinkle that in a little bit. The one I am concerned about a little bit, Derrick Henry. Game log, not good. I mean, they took Derrick Henry out in the 3rd quarter. He was on the sidelines with his gloves off, standing and sitting in the 3rd. They just gave that game up, which is crazy. I mean, they were losing pretty bad, but I mean, you got to at least attempt it. 2 bad games, very bad games. His price even went up too after a bad game. So I don't know if I'll have exposure to Derrick Henry. Maybe a little bit, but I won't go as heavy as I think other people will. Eckler here. It really depends on who the quarterback is. Can dump off passes double digits. I do like that. Last week, 8,000. This week, still 8,000. And he's got a good matchup. So I will have some Eckler here. He should factor into this game a lot. Dalvin Cook is the one where I just don't know what to do with him. I mean, 2 stinkers. I mean, yesterday, 6 attempts. That's it. 17 yards. 4 for 6, 19 yards there. 7.6, 8,000. Went down 100. I don't know what to do with him. If you are going to stack this game, you could possibly look at him there. But yeah, it's going to be hard for me to like that until he proves. I could be completely wrong, but until he proves something, I'm not liking Dalvin Cook there. Joe Mixon against the Jets, I do like 7,600 here. He was 7,200 last week. Ish, little stinker, 57 yards, but he's always capable of getting a 100-yard game, getting those extra points on DraftKings. So definitely looking at that. Aaron Jones against Tampa Bay, I don't know. He obviously had a massive game on Sunday Night Football. We saw that at 132 yards. So he's back. With him and Dillon in the backfield at the same time could spell just could be something good there. So watch it. I think he'll be lower owned because he is going up against Tampa Bay. That'll do it for running backs. We obviously will have more. We have a full cheat sheet. I'll show you everything that we have at the end of this video. So if you stick around, you can kind of see we had a really good week in week 2. Brought home a lot of bacon and look to build on that as well. So looking at wide receivers, ones that just jump out. Like I said, Cooper Kupp is 9,900, and then Allen Robinson was what, 5,500, 5,700. So I mean, obviously people are going to be all over the Matt Stafford Cooper Kupp here. I really like a pivot to Allen Robinson there. Justin Jefferson got shut down in Monday Night Football for 48 yards, but his usage, I think I read something where his usage is the highest amongst all players. So his snap usage is at the top. So he's going to be out there in the highest scoring game. He's going to have a bounce back game. I have no trouble throwing him in there at that price. It's because I didn't go to wide receiver. Devontae Adams, I don't know what happened. No idea what Derek Carr was trying to do. 7 targets. He caught 2 of them. That's it. Did have a touchdown, so got 9.2. But for his price, I mean, he did drop down. He's in a better lineup matchup-wise. It's crazy. I think he has a bounce back, and people might be off him because they've seen what he's done. But, yeah, not really sure. I will have exposure to him. Just seeing what Stephon Diggs was able to do to Tennessee on Monday night. Devontae, easily better than Diggs. Be looking at him there. Jamar Chase against the Jets. Double digits. Yeah, not the best game last week. But that offensive line for the Bengals really not doing any favors for Joe Burrow to give him time to throw it. I do like him there. Stephon Diggs, if you haven't checked out our rankings yet, I love him as number 1 wide receiver this week. Miami. We were able to see what Lamar was able to do to pretty much that defense, throwing the ball to his wide receivers. Stephon Diggs, I absolutely love him here. Massive game, 47.8. I mean, he had 14 targets on Monday night, and he was out, I believe, the entire fourth quarter. So these were all within the first 3 quarters, had 3 touchdowns. Absolutely loved Stephon Diggs this week. Tyreek Hill, I mean, massive game. Him and Waddle both had massive games. That's what won you the matchup last week. A.J. Brown, I don't mind, especially against Washington. I love his matchup there. A little bit cheaper. Obviously, he is $2,600 less than Cooper Kupp. Amon-Ra St. I mean, look at this dude. The sun god has shown up. The sun is shining on him. Love him. And he's $7,200. Well, and in game script theory, Detroit should be behind in this game pretty much the whole time, is what everything is telling us. Think he gets, I mean, he had 12 targets week 1, 12 targets in week 2. Washington's offense there, as you can see, Washington ranked 28th, Minnesota ranked 18th, but I love St. Brown in this one. Pittman is questionable. If Pittman is out, I love Ashton Doolin again. We used him in our lineups, and I mean, he's 3,900. He's almost a free spot at 3,200, 13.2. So, I mean, 5 for 7. I really love Doolin here if he's actually out. So, if Pittman is out, I do love Doolin. Jalen Waddle, I love him again. Again, the problem is this Buffalo defense is good. So, people are going to... Here's the thing about people that watch these videos and just casual players who just build lineups. While you will have the insight to kind of build your lineups a good way, people that are just casual and build lineups, they're only going to see this. They're going to be like, who do I want? Oh, I saw Waddle did really well last week. 43.1 at 6,400, 6,800 now. Love it. Baltimore's defense is so good. They're really not. They got exposed. Huge. I mean, he had 19 targets last week, which is crazy. That is absurd. I think people are going to see what Waddle, Hill, and Tua did last week, and they're going to chase that. They're going to chase rainbows, and they're not going to get that. I absolutely think the ownership for Waddle and Hill will be too high. You can pivot off them and kind of bring it down a little bit. I mean, pivot, you might be paying more, but I don't believe they'll have a massive game like that. It is Buffalo's defense. They are the best defense in the league right now. Absolutely love it. I'm going to I'll sprinkle some exposure to Miami, but I won't be as heavy as I think the entire field will be seeing that. So those are just some of the wide receivers. If you guys want to see the rankings, they are on the website. Looking at tight ends, Travis Kelce, always going to be at the top again. Kelce's, I mean, it's Kelce. There's like 5 tight ends that you can really like count on each week. Last week, 5 for 7, 51 yards, got his 10.1, not enough. Didn't see the end zone. He saw week 1, 121 yards. I expect multiple weeks like week 1 where he gets almost 30 fantasy points. This is what won the Millie Maker. You had to have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So I love his matchup against Indy here, 27th. He'll be high owned, though. He is the highest ranked one. Mark Andrews against New England. We saw Andrews get a touchdown last week. We saw 104 yards. Got the extra points on DraftKings, 28.7. I do like his matchup here against New England's defense. Waller, we saw him get a touchdown. He's still super cheap. You're saving $2,100, and he's got a better matchup on paper due to what we saw a Monday night with Tennessee's defense just getting crushed. I mean, Waller had 50 yards last week, but had a touchdown, got 17 points at 5,600. Only went up 200. You got Pitts. I don't know why I want to say I don't know why he's priced so high. He's only 4,800, but I'm worried about Pitts. I mean, 3.9. Look at this. He has 4 reception on the year. 19 yards in both games. He's going to have a breakout week sometime, you would think. I don't know if it's against Seattle. They dropped his price down considerably, but that just feels like a trap. Kyle Pitts feels like a trap in week 3. Goddard is getting those targets, getting those yards. Didn't have a touchdown, but had double digits, 4,700. Didn't move. I do like Goddard here. Not the best defensive matchup, but I still do like Goddard there. Zach Ertz, I don't know what to say. 4,600. Love Zach Ertz here in the game that should be competitive as well. Should be a back and forth game there. Maybe no defense at all. Well, I keep saying that, and I keep saying no defense, and then Kyler gets shut out for 3 quarters. So I still like Ertz here. Marquise Brown is not really doing anything for Arizona right now. I think Greg Dortch is a great matchup there. Brown, until he proves me otherwise, he's just too expensive for me to trust. I really like Goddard, Ertz there. Higbee's come along on the other side of that. The Arizona Cardinals have given up the most amount, or the second most to tight ends. Higbee 7 for 9, 71 yards, 14.1. He was 4,200. He's only 4,500. So it's really hard for me to go down further. Gerald Everett, I do like. I think he's a cheaper option. Double digits there. He's even better if Keenan Allen is out, which I believe he might still be. 71 yards, no touchdown last week, but 13.1. And then week 1, 54 yards, but did have a touchdown. Gerald Everett could be a cheap option there. Hawkinson has got a good matchup, hasn't really done anything. It's hard for me to like there. Hurst, they were targeting him. 7 targets last week, but nothing really to show for it. 5 for 7 for 24 yards. So, he's getting the receptions, but he's not getting any yards after catch. So, I would stick around Everett and up here. I'm probably not going to have any exposure to Kyle Pitts until he proves otherwise. And then defenses, really depends. Chiefs defense, Indy, Matt Ryan can throw the ball and get intercepted. We saw that in week 1. We saw that in week 2. Bills, I know the matchup isn't the best, but the Bills their defense is great. Look at this. 2 interceptions last night. Could have had 3 or 4. I think 2 were dropped. 3 interceptions against the Rams. I love them here. I don't know why that says no salary. So I love the Bills here. It really depends. You're either going to pay up for a defense or you're just going to punt and hope that they get something. So that was just kind of the breakdown of first look of DraftKings. Again, on the website, For anyone still here, we've got the projections for the entire year. You can check those out. Those were put out before the season. You got the Vegas odds that we just looked at. The Bacon Station, which is not done for this week, but it's got all the stats you can think of. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on here, but on the left side, what you see is you see a bunch of defenses, all the things they've given up in 2022, and then you scroll over and you can see how many total fantasy points they've allowed on DraftKings and FanDuel, and then fantasy points per game on DraftKings and FanDuel. So this will be updated normally by Thursday for the Thursday night game, so you can definitely check that out there. We've even gone ahead and added each position and what rank they are currently. So these are all up to date through 2 weeks, and we'll continue with that. The cheat sheet is just that. It's an NFL DFS cheat sheet for FanDuel and DraftKings. Player, matchup, Vegas, last 5 games, BVP or DVP, floor, average, and ceiling, and then projections for FanDuel and DraftKings and value there. And then we've got optimal lineups as well. We have 3 cash and 3 GPP, main lineup, an early lineup, and an afternoon lineup. I've had people ask about showdowns. If that's something you guys are interested in, definitely let me know. I will look into that as well. And then we have bets. So just kind of looking at the bets here, we're not going to win all of them. But the thing is, I'm showing the bets from each week. So we went light on the bets here, but we went 3 for 5 there. And then you can see anywhere from 1 to 10 bets each week, just depending on how we go. So you can look at that. That's completely transparent as well. That is part of the premium packages that we do have. So any comments, questions, or concerns, I will try to answer them for you throughout the week. You can get a month pass for $19.99. Check us out. You get month plus sports betting for $40. Season pass, if you use the promo code VIP customer, we have 2 coupon codes left. So if you click NFL season pass, you click join FTA plus, and you use the promo code VIP customer, you get this for $69 for the rest of the season. Or the lifetime pass. We have a ton of lifetime members. So that's what I have in this video, everybody. Good luck this week. Be on the lookout. Be a subscriber here because we will have rankings videos out probably tomorrow. The articles are already out there, so definitely check that out. And yeah, that's what I've got. Good luck in week 3, and let's bring up some bacon.